Good morning. Welcome to the Weather Desk. I'm meteorologist Craig Moeller on this Friday, the 24th of July. We've got a great show lined up. We broadcast from Southeast Virginia. We cover the weather here in the Mid-Atlantic from Eastern Virginia and Eastern North Carolina. But with the Weather Desk, we expand beyond that. We go national, international, sometimes space and climate. All kinds of great stuff for you. And today, one of those international days with some different things going on. We're going to focus, on some of the heavy rain that has put local flood sensors to the test. Past couple of days, we've had a lot of rain. We've talked about, we knew it was coming, but man, we're talking several inches of rain. Parts of North Carolina yesterday, over half a foot of rain. So very heavy stuff there, and the rain continues for North Carolina this morning. We also have an update on the drought and how that relates to the recent rain. So a lot to talk about with the heavy rain here in the southeast U.S. and the mid-Atlantic. Now we're also going to keep a close eye to the tropics, not because of Bertha. Bertha is gone. I'll show you what Bertha did as it rained itself out pretty much over Texas overnight. I'll give you a little update on that. But the thing that we're watching now is Fausto, because Hawaii may be more directly impacted with that system in the Pacific. And there could be another one. Genevieve could be forming pretty soon. We'll talk about that. We also have the European wildfire update. Parts of Spain, France continue to deal with wildfires, and we have a special look back at the Carr fire in California, a wildfire that claimed, I believe it was 8 lives in California. Deadly wildfire there 8 years later, some of the lessons they've learned and some of the things that they've taken forward after the Carr fire. We take a look at the Texas power grid. You know, that one catches attention every now and then. They hit a record. We'll talk about that. And we've got your weekend outlook as we're getting close to the weekend. Everybody's starting to think, hey, is it going to get a little nicer here? We'll talk about it for the Mid-Atlantic region. So plenty to go over today. Starting off with clouds, we've got darker clouds off in the distance here with our Thompson Creek Window Company sky view. The rain is farther to the south. Right now, Portsmouth and Norfolk looking really good. We are drier, but you look at the rainfall yesterday. 2.4 inches of rain at Norfolk International, 2.6 inches at the regional airport in Chesapeake. Oceana had 2¼ inches in Virginia Beach, over 1.5 inches at Currituck. Elizabeth City almost 2 inches at the Coast Guard Air Station. Manio did have 2¼ inches, and we had heavy rain out around Roanoke Rapids as well. There was even heavier rain across central parts of North Carolina, but just focusing on our local reporting stations, a lot of rain across the area. So this is something we've been watching. So far today, we've had minor amounts of rain across parts of the south side. We've had a little bit in Virginia Beach as well, but you've seen over 3/4 of an inch to close to an inch, some parts of North Carolina down around the Albemarle Sound. So the rain has been a big deal. With the flooding rain that we've seen here in Hampton Roads, what we saw yesterday and this morning, experts are monitoring how flood sensors around the region are working. Kiriana Gamboa has a closer look.
While most flood sensors in Hampton Roads are showing normal conditions, a few have reached the action stage, the point where water level officials start watching closely before flooding becomes a concern. Whitney Catchmark with the Hampton Roads Planning District Commission says they've been on the lookout for the past few days.
We only had one that sort of approached the action level, which means it's getting close to roadway level, but it hasn't crested the road yet. And then we've seen a couple other places where the water levels are rising.
Those nearing the action stage are Stony Run at Colonial Pines and Lucas Creek at Gwen Circle in Newport News, and Lansdowne Canal, Kempsville Lake, and Mapleton Bridge. And the latest NOAA Water Protection Service forecast shows the Elizabeth River at Grandy Village and the Midtown Tunnel in Norfolk could also reach action stage later this week. Karen Lindquist, CEO of Greenstream Technologies, says their sensors, along with others, help feed data to NOAA's National Water Prediction System map. She suggests checking the map before heading out, especially if more heavy rain moves in.
I would encourage people to go to water.noaa.gov and you can see all the gauges in Hampton Roads.
Kiriana Gamboa, 13 News Now.
really interesting, and that is such a big deal here in Hampton Roads because of all of the bodies of water, and we have a lot of low areas that just honestly don't drain that well. So when we get a heavy flooding rain, it can back up quickly. That is good information to have. All right, as we take a look at our drought monitor, you know, we were in severe drought for a while, much of the region, and we had extreme drought for many other areas. And at this point, given all the rain we've had, we are technically just abnormal dry. But here is the big thing. This map right now, which is still showing us, you know, dry, it doesn't account for the rain that we've had over the past couple of days. So I think next week when we come back, we'll see some of these areas not even in yellow, but rather just gray, showing that we've caught up. We went from severe to even extreme drought to being caught up after the recent rain, and we're not quite done with it yet. You'll see additional chances for rain over the coming days. But I just wanted to share that with you. Still moderate drought on the peninsula, middle peninsula, northern neck, and parts of the eastern shore, but so much the immediate metro area, North Carolina, and the southern part of the eastern shore, now just abnormal dry. Still, though, extreme drought out to the west. These areas, Roanoke Rapids down to Rocky Mount and areas around Raleigh, they've had a lot of rain. Yesterday, they had some of these areas down this way were getting reports of 6 inches or so of heavy rain. So again, I expect another big dent when we look at the drought monitor next week. All right, here's a look at where it's raining right now. Still around Back Bay, Sandbridge area, right on the edge of light showers. The rain picks up. It's more intense down to the south. In fact, let's take this full because I do want to take a moment to talk to you about the flood advisory that is down to the south. As we take a closer look at this, you can see right now we have Manio. There's about 1,700 people or so down around the Manio area. That's part of Dare County that are under this flood advisory. So this is going to run until 11:30. A much more sparsely populated area, mainland Dare, only about 2,000 people or so under this. Well, no, excuse me, that's only 147, about 2,000 under Manio, but about 147 people, so mostly farmland, and then there are some wildlife areas there in mainland Dare. But they also under this advisory until 11:30. So very heavy rain down there. We have a flood watch for the southern part of the Albemarle Sound, Washington, Terrell, and Dare counties. And then again, the Outer Banks, they've been dealing with that heavy rain. Now, the flood potential, it's not very likely, but it's slightly elevated just along the southern tier. I'm really not worried about that for Hampton Roads today. We could see a few heavier cells maybe overnight, early tomorrow morning, and this flood potential technically through 8 a.m. So it's possible we could get a couple heavy cells there. That's why there's this low risk, but slightly elevated for this light green area. Where it's more likely and where we find that flood watch, south of the Albemarle Sound. And then once you get down around Wilmington, Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, all the way down through Charleston, here you have a very likely area for flash flooding over the next, say, 18 to 24 hours. So we're going to be watching that. It's all part of a larger area which winds back up through central and western Missouri. You can see northern Alabama, Mississippi, Georgia here, all of these areas with this elevated flash flood potential or potential for excessive rainfall. So we're going to continue to watch this. Again, we're going to monitor all of this for you and keep you updated. Now, as we take a look at what's going on right now, what we have across the area, more rain scattered here and there from North Carolina through South Carolina into Georgia, and then the rain back across Missouri. We have a frontal boundary that's basically stalled here. This is going to lift back to the north, and as it does so, tomorrow we'll have a chance for better chances for showers and storms. So we're going to be continuing to monitor all of that. Now, we've been taking a look at all of the rainfall yesterday. This is part of it. I do want to talk about North Carolina's Raleigh-Durham International Airport. They saw record rainfall yesterday with more than 2 inches, and that was mild compared to how much fell in other parts of North Carolina. Here's ABC's Hannah Battah.
This morning, the same storm system that brought powerful tornadoes from Kentucky to New York is now dumping torrential rain across the Carolinas. Parts of North Carolina getting more than half a foot, saturating the soil and toppling massive trees onto roads. Outside Charlotte, Trevor Tompkins pulled a man and his child from this crushed car.
I had to fight through the trees. I was standing on top of that branch that was behind the car. We pulled him out.
Crews in Raleigh clearing numerous fallen trees and power lines littering the streets. Earlier this week, that same storm front triggered deadly flooding in West Virginia. Authorities confirming 2 people were found dead as new images of the devastation emerge.
Oh my God.
This car in Buckhannon sucked underneath a bridge by raging floodwaters. Meanwhile, overnight, Tropical Storm Bertha weakened to a tropical depression after making a second landfall near the Texas-Louisiana border. Bertha's remnants could still bring heavy rain and gusty winds to parts of South Texas before dissipating tonight. Hannah Battah, ABC News, New York.
And that package was from late last evening. I want to show you exactly what's happening now as we turn our attention to the tropics and what was Bertha. You can see some of the heavier rain. There was a center of circulation. It dissipated overnight, but a lot of that tropical moisture, this is what I was honestly more concerned with into the hill country, maybe some more flooding rain. Fortunately, it kept moving. It didn't stall out and just camp out over the area. That sometimes happens with these systems as they wind down. You can get moisture that just doesn't move. That wasn't the case here. We did get some significant amounts of rain across southern Texas, but it wasn't as bad as it could have been. And again, the last advisory on Bertha last night at 11. So things have improved there across Texas, and the last of those showers continue to roll along. The rest of the Atlantic Basin is quiet right now. I want to talk to you about 2 areas. This could become Genevieve. Okay, this area here, you can see it's starting to look more impressive. Certainly seeing some organization here, more convection. It's not technically a tropical system yet, but the Hurricane Center believes there's a 90% chance that's going to happen within the next day or so. So we'll look for Genevieve to develop. This is Fausto, and look at the eye on Fausto as it's been moving along to the west. That diameter of the eye, about 20 miles or so, give or take. And I just did this before the show started, so I actually would need to move it over a little bit, but that's how much it's moved to the west just recently. So let's give you the latest. Movement is west at 15 miles per hour. It is moving right along, and the maximum winds 100 gusting to 120. A couple days ago, Fausto looked like it was going to stay north of the islands. It wasn't going to be a big deal. It's still expected to weaken as it moves over cooler water, so eventually it becomes a tropical storm as we go from hurricane to tropical storm during the day, Sunday and Sunday night. Then as it approaches Hawaii late Tuesday night into early Wednesday morning, that's the 2 a.m. position on Wednesday, it should continue to further weaken. But it's still going to produce some large waves and some swell there. And if it does grace, or kind of brush past some of the islands there, places like Maui and maybe even Oahu, we could see some, heavier rain associated with that and some gusty winds. Again, it is forecast to weaken. We will, of course, keep you updated on all of that. All right, we're going to take a short break. Coming up, 8 years after the Carr fire changed California forever. Its impact is still being felt. How the community hit hardest is recovering and preparing for the future. Welcome back to the Weather Desk. Time for some updates on wildfires and a wildfire-related story. You know, when we take a look over at Europe, they've been enduring an intense heat wave, and parts of Europe still feeling the heat. You can see it is cooler over Eastern Europe, but areas like Bordeaux in France, 95 degrees right now, 91 in Madrid, and down to the south, once you get down around the sea, you find that we do have some temperatures very, very warm as well. So a lot going on. Rome at 93 degrees. I want to talk specifically about France, and I want to talk to you about Spain. So these two countries have been dealing with those wildfires. It has forced evacuations of the French peninsula, and again, it's sending more than 10,000 people from homes and campsites along the country's Atlantic coast. The fires burned for more than 3 days, with flare-ups continuing as firefighters battle hot, dry, windy conditions. And the French president says he has requested help through the European Union's civil protection mechanism to bring in additional firefighting resources. Officials say the prolonged heat and drought have left vegetation dangerously dry, fueling wildfires and raising concerns that climate change is making these extreme conditions more frequent and severe. In the neighboring country of Spain, firefighters are also battling dangerous wildfires, prompting an emergency. Flames lit up the night sky near the town of Morgondo, I'll get it. As crews worked through the night to slow the wildfire spread, Spain has seen the most land burned of any country in the European Union so far this year. It has been brutal. So as we take a look at the satellite images, at least the firefighters have some decent conditions. We're not looking at crazy strong winds. There is an area of low pressure spinning offshore just northeast of Spain. We'll continue to monitor that. I'm sure they could use some rain to help out, but they don't have that right now. Let's turn our attention back over to the United States, and specifically Northern California, and not too far from Redding. We have an area that was hit so incredibly hard 8 years ago. It was the Carr fire that ignited, growing into one of the most destructive wildfires in California history. The fire burned more than 229,000 acres, destroyed more than 1,600 structures, and claimed 8 lives. Jesse Angelo reports.
Our fire pushed firefighters into some of the most extreme conditions they had ever faced. Its explosive growth and the rare fire tornado swept through West Redding, turning the fire into a national tragedy. Today, fire officials say the lessons learned from the Carr fire are helping shape everything from training to the technology used to detect new fires before they can grow out of control.
We have more alert wildfire cameras than ever. We have more detection technologies coming forth, drones and whatnot, to help us get in there quicker, find the fire faster, and put it out at a smaller footprint and keep it from devastating our communities.
But while the fire changed how wildfires are fought, many say its greatest legacy was how it brought people together. Churches, nonprofits, and countless volunteers stepped up to feed evacuees, support first responders, and help strangers who had lost everything. Julie Walker was one of those volunteers. She says the fire has helped change people for the better.
I think it was really one of the times where people really did come together and embrace each other. I think people really are more caring.
Nowhere was the devastation more complete than in Keswick, where entire streets were reduced to ashes. Only 2 homes survived. When Jerry Thomas returned after the fire, he says it was almost impossible to recognize the place he had called home.
And if you've ever seen pictures of Hiroshima and Nagasaki after the atom bomb, that was exactly what it looked like. There was just a chimney here and some little thing, and just flattened, gray, nothing. There was not a building in sight.
Thomas says the recovery has been slow.
8 years, incredible. The Carr fire was fully contained on August 30th, 2018, after burning for 38 days. Today, the Carr Fire Memorial in West Redding stands as a permanent tribute. All right, coming up, we have record-breaking heat and a record-breaking demand for power. Texas's power grid hit an unofficial high this week. How renewables are helping keep electricity flowing. Welcome back to the Weather Desk. You know, they say everything's bigger in Texas. Well, apparently that goes for energy demands as well, as they were sweltering again yesterday. San Antonio and Dallas both hitting 98 degrees. Now, according to the Electric Reliability Council of Texas, the power grid set an unofficial record for demand on Wednesday of more than 80,000 megawatts. The previous record was set back in 2022. Officials, they say the investment in solar and wind farms has helped keep the power on in situations like this.
We've had fabulous growth in solar farms and wind farms and short-run battery capacity. The solar farms, the growth has been just astonishing. Without solar and without wind, the Texas grid and the Texas economy are just absolutely dead in the water.
So I mentioned yesterday the high was 98. They are expecting more triple-digit heat to build across the region today and continue across much of the state through the weekend, putting more pressure on the grid. All right, here's a quick live look outside. It's been a gloomy start to the day down south with more rain, but we are seeing some breaks farther to the north. I'll break down the weekend coming up in just 2 minutes. All right, it's Friday. It's time to start thinking about the weekend. If you've got getaway plans up to D.C., you're looking good. 81 on Saturday, 85 on Sunday. We do have chances for showers for Richmond. I don't think you'll see much, but there might be a few sprinkles early in the morning. Later Saturday should be good if you're going up to the state capitol. Around Sunday, partly sunny, 85. How do you beat that? We're looking good for Charlottesville on Sunday as well, but a chance for a few sprinkles there. And Outer Banks, I do think we'll see some more showers or storms on Saturday, but again, Sunday should be better. Again, those weekend road trips calling for the improvements later in the day. So hopefully you've got a good weekend in store. Just know there will be some showers, especially over eastern North Carolina as we go tomorrow, and then improvements Sunday. That goes for all of us across Hampton Roads. Back up to 88 on Monday. Our normal high is 89, so we'll be cool for the next few days, and then warmer as we get into the middle of next week. A chance for a few isolated storms. Things looking pretty good, but again, rain continues down to the south this morning, and we'll see chances again tomorrow. Have a great weekend, and thank you so much for joining us here on the Weather Desk. Again, I'm meteorologist Craig Moeller. Have a great weekend.